lids off of plastic bottles. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dave's rushing me along.
No, I'm not rushing you along. I was going to tell you to just keep talking.
Oh,
I
is
was
that
tell you,
what that
so yeah,
is?
just keep talking.
Oh my
I
gosh.
fucked it
Okay.
up. I fucked it up. Like
It's
this
okay.
is,
It's okay. You missed the entrance. That's
mm,
who needs a real intro anyways.
yeah, fucked it.
Welcome to Lost in the Groove American Groove with
Yeah,
Dave and
yes,
Karissa.
yes. With Fiona. Can we give a little warm introduction? Want to let us know, of course, your name, who you are,
Yeah,
what you're
tell me
here all
something.
about. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Fiona, which I think has been covered. I
I think
am
so.
I'm a Chicagoan. Um, I am probably middle-aged, I think, and
Yeah.
I'm a transgender woman. And let's see. So I'm a bike messenger. That's my job. I'm a bike messenger by trade. I ride my bike around the city all crazy, all year round, even in the snow. And I don't know. Yeah, I love cycling,
What is
and
that like? Being what do you call your job?
it's called bike messaging or bike
A bike
courier.
messenger. Oh yeah, you're a bike messenger in Chicago. The weather is like I've been to Chicago. It gets really, really cold and windy.
Yeah.
It's a tough job.
Luckily, global warming has like mostly taken care of the terrible winters.
You
It's really not
listen.
that bad anymore. That's crazy.
Well, human intervention has done a lot of benefits for the planet. That I can say for assurance.
Oh, we've been slowing down global warming. Is that what you're saying,
No, no, no,
Dave?
no, no. I mean, kind of, not really. You know how it goes.
Be
Politics.
positive. Be positive. Think positive thoughts. The world is getting better, right?
It
I
How
don't
about
seems
know.
to me that it's like a moving locomotive, and there's a lot of ants trying to push back on it. But that's not
Yeah. Hey, that's a cool idea. Yeah.
positive thinking at all.
How okay, so like that's your job. Like
Um,
yeah, me and Dave both have jobs too that we feel like are a little bit more like different than other people's jobs. But I mean, in the same, I feel like your job's very unique if you're doing that like on a weekly basis. Like at least it gets you like out in the world instead of like in an office over and over again, you know?
oh yeah. I mean, the number one thing, I mean, really, besides it just being so much fun to me, the number one thing I find about my job is that I'm on my bike all day. So when people ask me, like, doctors ask me, like, how would you rate your, like, you know, physical health, or like how much like exercise do you get per week? I'm like all day, every day. It's
Wow.
fine.
Yeah,
But one,
literally. Yeah, like literally. That's what you do for a living, honey.
that's right.
It's work that bicycle. As the late Freddie Mercury put it in, I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride.
Right away, Dave, ride.
I'm trying. So one thing I will say that intrigued me the most, and this is why I reached out, was your like your strength to just keep pushing forward, getting after your goals, being successful, getting on your own 2 feet. And it's something that we like forget because sometimes we get too comfortable. We don't have those scary moments that have in our lives. We're like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. You want to talk about a little bit about that? I mean,
Yeah. So I mean, so first of all, I should probably set the stage by saying like I'm very much like a leftist sort of anti-capitalist sort of person. So uh
we love old
okay.
people here.
So let me jump ahead a little
Yeah.
bit. Um I became homeless uh almost a year ago now. It was last spring, like late, like early spring. Um and I've been homeless before a couple times. It's not something crazy, but Luckily, like I wasn't like sleeping on boxes or in doorways or anything. Like I was able to find people to help me out a lot, but I mean, that's a long time, you know. So I was sort of couch surfing and like jumping back and forth between people's places, and a lot of it stems from like a lot of my sort of mental illness and stuff that like prevented me from, I guess, succeeding or even like trying to succeed. Like I've been um diagnosed with like um major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder and PTSD and
Same.
ADHD.
Yeah, I can relate. It can be really hard to maintain a schedule that like it just repeats itself over and over again every week. Like it can be just so hard to keep up with for certain reasons.
For a lot
And
of reasons.
it's like sometimes it's almost impossible for me to even just like pick up the phone to like, get my, whatever, my phone turned back on or whatever. Like it could
Mm-hmm.
take like weeks sometimes just to like put the corner of the bed sheet back on the bed after it comes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I understand.
I
Way too
mean,
well.
I remember for me, I was living by my mom for, you remember this, after my dad passed away for about 2 years, and then I had to move down here to Florida, and I got an apartment after not having one for 2 years. And just like the feeling of knowing that like I can pay for my own home, like my own room. Um, you become, like I don't want to be like a negative but like it's true. When you become accustomed to things and you lose those things, like a home, self of security, or you're in the right place or not getting anywhere, or you're like, Karissa said that you're kind of in this rut. You're just doing the same shit every single week. When you're able to get yourself out of that, it feels really good.
Well, I just wonder like how you were able
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm
to
sorry. I'm sorry.
change things like because you said you'd been homeless a couple times before. Um I've been in situations where I put up with living environments that were terrible just not to be homeless. Like I've like put myself like, in other people's spaces that allowed me to be there where it was just like fucking not okay and terrible and I just need to go, but I didn't want to just be like completely homeless, so I like stick around too much. But um I mean, I the only way I ever found to get myself out of stuff like that is to force myself to do stuff that I don't want to do. But I mean, it sounds like, some of the things that were really getting in your way would were like mental health issues, like things that how did you overcome? How did you start to like, because it sounds like you got yourself out of the situation more or less.
It sounds kind of crazy, but like I really always like rely on the universe to sort of pull me back out of these like awful holes that I find myself in. A job will just fall in my lap, or like an apartment will just fall in my lap, or so basically I wasn't homeless. I had a home, like we all do probably, and but my roommate was just like intolerably abusive.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was always screaming, the house was always a mess. She was always gaslighting me into taking the blame for all of her messes, and there were dudes over that were abusive that I had to like kick out and everything. And eventually, like I just fucking lost it. Like I was in the middle of like a sort of mental breakdown already, and then that compounded with that. And my friend was just like, "Get the fuck out of there! Pack a suitcase and come over to my house right now." And so that's what I did. Like I was, on a lease. I was paying rent. I had had all my shit there, and I just like left with a suitcase and like walked 3 miles, dragging a suitcase behind me. And that was the beginning of my homelessness. That's how it happened. And like, um, and 10 months later, and like five couches later, I'm living across the hall from where I live right now on a friend's couch. And he said the apartment across the hall is available. Like, do you want to try and get it? And I'm like, holy shit, like that's really expensive. But yeah, absolutely. I don't want to be homeless anymore. And then so it just fell into my lap, and I'm just like working my
Wow.
ass off to like have this apartment all by myself, and it's an amazing space in my dream neighborhood, and it just fell into my lap. That's how I pulled myself out of it. It just,
Can I
I'd love to have like a more heartwarming, like, I pulled up my bootstraps and
No, that's
did it.
very
But
heartwarming, honestly.
can
Like,
I wanna share something with you because I can relate perfectly with this. My last roommate, which was before I had this apartment all by myself, Karissa knows this because when my dad
you
passed
guys hated each other.
when my dad passed away, okay, and I was holding my brother's hand while we were in the
Mm.
cemetery, while we were putting him in the ground, he texted me for rent while I was putting my father's coffin in the ground. He threatened to put this little girl in like a shelter because
Yeah, like give it away.
yeah, and he made me break Shiva, which is like a very important part of like Judaism. We sit 7 days after someone passes, and we're not supposed to be disturbed. As a family, like it's our time to rest and mourn. So I had to disturb that to go get my cat, which of course I did. Like, hello, we all have fuzz babies over here, right? All have fuzz babies.
Roommates do crazy things.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I needed the reminder as to why like living alone is really bomb because like it really
It's
is.
amazing.
I mean, just for me, I'm gonna preach having your own place, is
The
good.
raise of hands. Everybody that agrees they like living alone, please raise their hand.
I do and I don't, I mean, I do. But right now it sounds really good.
It's really good.
this is my
Yeah.
first time ever, and like my
Yeah.
rent is way too much. It's like twice as much as my income, which is not ideal.
Oh no.
No.
But it's so amazing that I just have to do it. I have to do it.
How long have you lived there?
So I've been here for 2 months.
Sweet.
So that's
Yeah.
why there's still like crap everywhere. You can see behind me. There's crap everywhere.
It looks like art supplies, in a bookshelf with some
That
letters.
that is what it is. Yeah.
I'm in my kitchen. I live in this like really, really tiny, like less than 300 square feet, like little apartment. And so if I'm in my kitchen, I'm in my entire apartment. We're not in my bathroom right now, which is kind of
No.
cool, but
Um
otherwise we're everywhere in
so
my
I'm
apartment at
actually
once.
so I am actually in a built-in studio that I made in my apartment. Uh I got this is crazy. I got an apartment that's like 890 square feet. I have like a one bedroom and like it's cheap for Florida. It's a lot. It's like a lot. It's like kind of like almost half my paycheck. But anyway, a lot. Um and it's just like this is my space. Like Carissa, you got your space. Fiona, first of all, bookshelf. Oh my god. I want to see like when it's complete.
Yeah.
I'm just like it's going to look so
Congratulations
dope.
on being, yeah, congratulations on being in like your favorite neighborhood.
Yeah, congrats.
Oh man.
Congratulations.
Does that like contribute a lot to like riding around? Like it just like puts you like in the right place already, like
Yeah,
with riding the
absolutely.
bike. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean
cool.
like and even just walking around, even just walking to the grocery store, like I never knew how like being like surviving living in an area that is like full of queer people like just uplifts you because you're not like hiding all the time, you can walk around freely, you meet people, like sometimes you just say hello to people just because you're kind of like, oh no, goodness, I dropped it. So
So you're
No, you're
living in like
fine.
a certain district of Chicago where you feel like people are more accepting.
yeah, absolutely, it's fun. Yeah, I used to live like more on the west side. It's like a little
Conservative.
grittier, I guess you
Cons-
could say.
Conservative?
Yeah, I would say poor, maybe a little rougher, with the type of area that has like a tire shop on every corner.
That's where I live.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Yep, I
Yeah.
can relate. It's funny you mentioned that because I messaged Karissa before we did the podcast. I love roller skating. I've always loved roller skating.
Roller
And
skating.
I have a pair of roller skates and I always keep them in my car. Always. Like they're always in my car. And today I was like, I'm going to put on my roller skates. And I just like, yeah, cool. You know what? Why don't we take a short break and we will be right back. I'm like,
Break time.
break time? Oh, God, what's going on over here? All right, people, we'll be right back. Bye. All right, there we go. There we go.
Who are
Sorry,
you calling
continue.
a stoner?
Hey, who you calling a boner? Oh.
A boner. Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Did someone say boner?
I think we all did.
It was
Oh,
Twixie. Twixie started it. She said,
You started it, dude. You said it first.
I know.
And
I
thank you
know.
for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's my job. Well, everybody, welcome back to Lost in the Groove with Fiona. Um, where did we
With
leave?
Fiona.
Where did I know? I can't. No, just can't stop. No, I'm not gonna sing. Dave, control. No singing. All right, getting back to what was
That
the
was
last?
interesting.
What was the last thing we were talking about?
Well, I had said that I think it would be really nice to live in a neighborhood where I felt more like of a community type of feeling. I don't really have anything like that. I don't know. I mean, that's one of the shitty things about LA. Everybody's like out for themselves in a way, but you know,
Mm,
I don't know. I
hmm.
bet there's down parts to every place that you could live in.
well, LA, I actually have a lot of experience. I mean, I lived there for 3 years. And
Okay.
what,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, what part of LA are you in?
I just live up in the valley because it's the cheapest place to live.
Oh, for
So I'm
sure.
in Van Nuys.
Okay.
Yep, that's where I'm
What I
at.
used to live in, I mean, I've lived in like South Central, sort of like West Jefferson, or even like down in Inglewood.
Yeah,
But it's all been like art collectives, so that's how it was cheap. Like I lived with like 18 people or
yeah,
whatever
Yeah,
in like a
yeah,
giant
I know.
building.
I
yeah.
actually know somebody. Well, um, they were on the podcast. Eli. They
Eli
used to,
lived that
yeah.
way.
Eli
We
used to
used to
do
go down
that.
there and hang out, like go meet friends after shows and different things like that. And like they'd be like, come on back. And we'd like go back and it was like a place like that where it'd be like, there's like 15 people living there and it's just like a big warehouse. So they like built out all these different rooms. It was always really appealing. I never knew anybody and I'm kind of I don't know. I mean, just it's really really cool. I guess I was always like not as adventurous to like go move in that type of situation. I guess I just like worry too much. I don't know. That's really cool though. Like some of the
Well,
most
yeah, it's kind of
beautiful.
that thing like how we were just like we were just talking about like how living alone is so amazing. That's like the complete polar opposite of that.
That is funny. Yeah, they're like total opposites.
They are. Well, you
Yeah.
have to like put yourself in the mind of, okay, here's the deal. Artists are hella fucked up people. Sometimes they're hella fucked up in a good way. And what I mean by that is like creating these artist communities, kind of coming together and bringing their art together. Like, for example, I lived in Israel for about 3.5 years, and just seeing different artists coming together on a Friday and sharing their art or selling it or, by a cafe. I don't know. Like, there's something about being in that environment that it makes you feel happy, and safe.
Hmm. Yeah, I did that shit a lot more when I was younger. I would say like my early 20s, I just like hang around in like art communities and just like be with people. But now it's like I don't have any of that at all. I mean, there's a few different reasons for things like that, like relationships with significant others and stuff like that that like, fell through and like cut ties with people. And then the goddamn pandemic. So I felt like, that kind of just separated me from everybody, but I definitely don't have that like artist community anymore. I mean, that's kind of why we like do the podcast is so that we like have this like virtual artist community, which is kind of neat, but we're still growing it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to share those experiences. Let me ask you something. So you were saying, I mean, unfortunately, but going through these situations of being homeless. Um, when did you? I mean, like, I'm very happy that you have your own place now. But generally, when you're in a position where you're homeless, it's very hard to get yourself out. Um, Let me asking, how were you able to get yourself out?
So I guess like I said, like I was living by the seat of my pants from the kindness of friends. And like I really did lose touch with a lot of friends because I was so like sort of out of control, mental health issues as well as like substance abuse and et cetera, et cetera. But I was still able to like hold my job because I have a job that's like so forgiving. So, I was saving money and when the time came to to move into this place, I saw the opportunity. I just like was able to grab it. And I think like a lot of people in my position might not have like been employed because I was unemployed, by the way, for like 2 years, like during the pandemic. But I found employment and I found a place that was like super forgiving, and so I was able to just start saving money. And like once you start saving money, it becomes kind of an addiction, right? And
Hmm.
I don't know, especially if you don't have any bills at all. Um, and so I was able to just like put down the first month's rent and deposit and everything, no problem. And I don't know. It literally just fell in my lap. Like everything just like came together. Oh, I'm sorry, my cat's like rolling around in the
I
back.
know
How
it's
how did you get your
adorable.
cat?
So I got my cat when the pandemic started. So I got her in April of 2020. So she's a pandemic baby. She was just like a lost kitten in a litter of kittens in my backyard, and I grabbed her up. She was she was Freya. I named her before I even like thought about it, and she's
Hmm.
been my best friend ever since. But when I was in the apartment across the hall, the guy I was living with is allergic to cats, so I had to have her living with another friend of mine across the city, and didn't see her for like 3 months. So
Hmm.
the minute I signed the lease, before I was even allowed to move in here, like I went and grabbed the kitty and like stuck her
Hmm.
in the empty apartment, and I was like, okay, you're home, baby.
I
Hmm.
will say this: the only time, little Twixie over here, I left her for a month because I moved to California and I couldn't take her with me from New York. I left her at my parents'. All right. Sorry, mom, if you're listening to this. My
I
apologies.
doubt your mom ever listens to the
I
podcast. I
doubt it. I know.
can't. I
I
don't think
know.
she'd get this far.
I know. But anyway, what happened was I get a call from my mom. She says to me, I quote, she says to me on the phone, she says, well, something happened to Twixie. Uh, there's a chance she might not make it. Might I add, I'm in California and my mom is in
Oh
New
my
York.
God.
And I said to her, I said, what the hell happened? And she's like, well, it's not a big deal. Just not a big deal. Okay. Not a, she says, well, it's not a big deal. Your father left the door open. She got out and she was gone for 4 days. Might I add, no one called me. No one called me. She survived. I mean, long story short, she got bitten by a raccoon of sorts. Got an infection and it became lethal, and they had to do surgery, and she survived, luckily. But she is not getting left alone ever. She stays with me. Like, you know, anyway, that was
Yeah,
dark.
the whole
Sorry.
The
idea that
psycho
like
story.
sort of like some cats are indoor cats and some cats are outdoor cats, like no, don't let your cat go outside. That's bad.
I lived
Outside
with
is
this
bad.
Japanese woman, and in Japan, like in different countries, I know cats, maybe not all of Japan, but I know that, in some cultures, cats can, go in and out. My grandma used to have just an outdoor cat, but I lived with this Japanese woman and she had these indoor outdoor cats. And she would lose a cat, every couple years or maybe every 5 years or so. Like, and she lived in the Hollywood Hills. And I'm sure, like someone would just come and eat it, like a coyote or
My
something like
God.
that. But
Mm-hmm.
she's just like, well, I'm not gonna trap a cat inside. They don't want to live in there like that. Was kind of her reasoning. And it's like, okay, but you live in a different place now. But she had
Very
a beautiful
bouge, honey.
home.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
rooms. I think the cat has a lot of places it can do in the Beverly Hills.
I don't know. That
I
place is
can
really
I can
pretty.
understand that mindset. Like, one time Freya got in the basement and I thought she got out and I was just like scream crying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So every time I leave, like I double or triple check that the cat hasn't run out underneath my feet because no, that would kill
Yeah.
me.
Cats cats kind of like get away, like it's like scary. My ex, his cat, like the first few times that the cat got away, it was just like, he was like crying. It was like, oh my God, like will we ever find it again, And I've thankfully not haven't had to experience that with a dog, But I feel like with cats, it was like a reoccurring thing, and I've heard lots of stories that just disappear or try to get away or some shit like that.
Freya's the baby. I'll never let her go.
No, they can't.
Good. Well, okay, so I love that moment of silence. We all love just a
We're
moment
all
of
like,
silence.
I like you guys.
Yeah. I mean, with Twix, I never really had those problems. I mean, because like for me, she's more like a dog than she is like a cat. Um, Twixie's the opposite. Like if she gets out, she'll run away, but then she'll come back, and
But
then
they're still doing the getting out part of the whole thing, like getting out, getting
you know.
away.
Okay,
Like
do you
it's
want to hear
just
something
weird.
crazy? She got out once, and she got out. She came back like 5 hours later. She killed a bird. She was like stalking a bird out of the balcony. She went out to kill it and came back. That was the whole purpose of her
Oh,
leaving for 5 hours. Like she planned this. I
I
was
saw this
like,
bird. I'm gonna kill it.
She
yeah.
needs to
Yeah.
go do a murder. She doesn't really look murderous from what I've seen.
No.
Snuck out to do a murder. They're
But
all
that,
murderers inside.
yes.
Fiona, has your cat ever like killed a mouse or anything?
No, luckily I've never had a mouse or a rabbit or a bird or anything in my apartment, and she's never really been outside. But I do take her outside in the grass, and she loves chasing bugs. And her favorite bugs to chase are bees. Like she'll grab them with both hands and like chomp them. So she loves chasing bugs. And if there's ever like a spider or a fly in the apartment, as soon as she makes eye contact with that bug or fly or spider, she just that's her whole life until
They
it's until it's dispatched.
Oh.
make life so much better.
One thing, one thing that is in, I think it's important to bring up. We're talking about animals, and when you're a person that like, you go through trauma and got all this shit and like this baggage. The nice thing about animals is unconditional love. You know, they don't have to talk your language. Isn't that amazing that you can love an animal and you don't even have to speak the same language? You know that
Yeah.
you love each other without without the barrier of language. So that tells you that we can create meaningful connections if we want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually just thinking about this the other day because Freya just loves me so much, and I love her so much, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the toxoplasmosis talking, but like when she's laying on my chest and purring and like I'm petting her and like I don't want it to ever end. I'm just like, how do we love each other so much? Like we've been through so much together, I guess, but it's it's so nice. Like we don't need to be humans. We don't need to be having a philosophical conversation. Like just your paramotor running is like all I need from you.
I love the purr motor, honey. That beautiful. I'm talking about a muscle car, okay? Not a cat for all you perverts. I'm kidding. Kidding. We love y'all.
Yeah, purring is incredible. It's
Yeah,
so
purring is in.
sweet. It's like just that like when you like pet a cat just right and they purr, it gives you this like sense of accomplishment. Like you're like, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because animals have many species of animals have created different ways of communication besides speech, because most animals can't talk. It's interesting how we humans chose this way for communication compared to, like sonar, hand signals, clicks. I don't want to sound like a fucking scientist because I ain't.
Mm.
Well, have you ever heard about this like study they did on gopher communication?
Gopher
Where like
communication.
No, what
Interesting.
they say.
so the gophers can literally, and so they've done like extraneous testing on like what the
On
different sounds and
golfers.
stuff they make when
Okay.
there is a danger present. And they found that there are like stark similarities depending on what type of danger, whether it's a human or a deer or a coyote or whatever. And they've been able to like pinpoint it down to the fact that they can communicate with their like little whistles and squeaks, whether a person is bald, wearing a red shirt, is tall, like they do it all. And yeah, so whether or not they speak, like obviously they don't speak English or use the sort of vocal cords that we do, but like they do communicate with almost like a human like vernacular, I guess you could call it, of squeaks and whistles, like whales
Mm.
too. But I mean, they're able to almost like coming up with a whale translator.
Ooh.
No whale translator. Uh,
Whales just
yeah,
sound like, you ever hear whale calls? It's
it's
very,
beautiful.
they're beautiful, but very depressing.
Oh.
They're all like,
Yeah,
"Mm."
it's just like, it just goes down, and you're just like, ugh. I don't know.
Well, yeah, hearing a baby whale like trying to get to its like parent whale is just like, oh, like I don't know. Yeah, I think something about whales being like mammals, I start to like feel for them. I care a lot about the whales.
Isn't that amazing that they're mammals?
Yeah, I feel like as much as like words are great for our communication, sometimes they put us in a situation where we don't like they limit us in expression because it's like, oh, we're supposed to pick between like the words that we have and the things that we have to explain ourselves, just because we do use words to express ourselves as humans. I mean, we could definitely choose other forms of expression as well, but like what I'm saying is like, being limited to words can be kind of difficult instead of just like, like highly advanced. Like sometimes I feel like what is more highly advanced is using things other than words to express ourselves, but also using the right words. I don't know, I'm a stoner, I'm like, oh my god,
Well, I
I'm
think
thinking everything at once.
it's very interesting when you get yourself in like a position where you don't need words at all, right? So like say you're like with like
Mm,
a new like sort of romantic partner or whatever, and you're just like
Ooh.
vibing or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes you don't need a single word. You're just like
yeah.
you're having a whole conversation like while you're watching a movie or something, just like based on like touch or whatever. And like these are like, parts of like love language or whatever. I guess like people who have like, verbal communication as part of their love, like major part of their love language, wouldn't get it as much, but like for someone who has like affection or touch or something as part of their love language would maybe understand more.
Well, again, um, going back to the whole idea of being artistic or being an artist, it all stems back to self-expression. Because if you think, I actually learned this. You want to know something real cool? Michael Jackson, when he used to record his music, he used to record it on a tape recorder. That's how he would remember it. He'd remember from a tape recorder. And that's how he would then when he would have to go ahead and record it, he would just go ahead and sing it. So he didn't even like use the sheet. No. He just used the sound. He wanted to hear the sound and the words with the sound. So like again, going back to this is where it's not about being special. It's not being better. It's not about being cool. It's kind of the realization that sometimes when you go through fucked up shit in your life, you get through it and really accomplish goals and you do things that are important, like having a pet, having a place. You're able to have a clear picture, you know?
A whole picture. What you mean,
No, no,
like?
no, no, not whole picture. Clear picture. There's a difference.
I think a lot of people are like very quick you know, to tell me like, oh, your life is quite hard. And I feel bad for you. But I've never felt that way. So like, surely like, a topic that I expected to talk about was how I was like, everything was awful and now it's like way better. And that's true. But like, I'm I'm just happy to be here. Like I'm stoked to be alive. I'm stoked to be on this planet. Like I'm stoked to be like, not I don't look as old as I am. I'm stoked for so many different things. And now I get to be like super extra about my new situation. 50 years ago or whatever, like our grandmothers, they were like, okay, well, the first thing you need to do is get a family and get a husband and, start your home and everything. But now we get to live like multitudes of lives. And there's nothing like really, I mean, there's a lot of negativity in the world, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to be positive if like you're not super worried about like money or your position in society or other things. I don't know. I don't
No,
know. Like
no, I mean it's true and who isn't? I mean, when you come back to it, it's all about who's pulling the strings. Because it's all about perspective. And we've all heard this, like, oh, they have it harder. Oh, they have it. Oh, I have it, but it's more. I feel like you got to be able to look at your own life and say, wow, I've been able to accomplish this because I was able to accomplish it. Not because of those motherfuckers and not because of those motherfuckers. It's because of you. So it's important. It is.
Well, I do think that like there's a lot of like the community around you. Like you said, like you were staying across the hallway from where you are now. Like you were staying with people. It's kind of like being around the things that you wanted made them closer within your grasp, you know? So like you kind of you said it like fell into your hands, but you were also kind of like right next to it, like ready for it, like at the same time. So, you know, you kind of put yourself in the situation to find the right thing. Sometimes I think, yeah, you got to open up space for it. And that's what I see that you did was like open up space. Like you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of wherever I am, even if it's like staying on some couches or something like that, you know?
Yeah, that was like literally like how it happened. I saw an opportunity to get out of a situation, even though the future was like very foggy or whatever. Like what you're talking about right now is like The Secret or like, the power, unlocking the power of the universe by, such and such BuzzFeed writer or whatever. Like
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
whatever you put out into the universe like
Mm-hmm.
comes to you. But honestly, like it's not so far from the truth. Like magic, which I'm a practitioner of, and like I'm not really bringing that, but I will say that like it's all about just like inviting the universe to like put the things that you need a little closer to yourself. It's not about moving yourself to, what you want. It's about making the universe move itself towards you.
Here's the
Ooh.
here's the here's the news flash. Okay. There are a multitude times thousands times billions of versions of us that have done exactly what we have done, slightly a little different. Maybe a different color shirt, maybe a different color wall, maybe we're sitting somewhere differently. Here's the reality. The reality is, I'm not saying that free will is not a real thing. What I'm saying is life is not made to be planned. You cannot plan life. Nobody is born and maybe in the very distant future, they're going to do this for 5 years exactly to, the way it's supposed to be. The whole purpose of living, the whole purpose of being in this universe, the whole purpose of being a part of this experience is to have that foggy, like you said, to sometimes be a little bit blurry. And then as you get closer, you get a clear, that's what I meant, a clearer picture.
Absolutely. I mean that's poignant. I mean, yeah.
Just start to figure shit out as you
Uh,
move along. I
Um,
think people got to do stuff their own way, you
mm,
know, to each their own, like so intensely, you know.
mm. Um,
there's
question.
obviously a million ways to live.
There is a million ways to live. And the crazy part is there's a million ways of not living.
Dave is so like deep. It's good.
Listen, I don't control the way that the cannabis infects the host of this podcast. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries. Um, it's all about like getting into what matters most. Because here's the thing: we're three people here having this conversation. Okay, and I think that you want to say that the universe works in mysterious ways. Fine, go ahead and say that. Um, I don't know. I've just come to accustomed to be like things are the way that they are because they are. Change what you can. Don't force what you can't.
I think there's a lot of like power that comes with like hoping for the right thing, hoping for good things for yourself, like looking in the right direction. I think I think you have to be open to the right thing happening. Um, I mean, but sometimes I don't know about you, but there's been different times in my life where I've just been like fucking like cursed. Like I'm like, you know what? Everything's just gonna be shitty for a little bit and I'm just gonna ride it out. And like I can tell that like the universe like isn't on my side and I'm like, all right, we're just gonna hang tight through this one and it's gonna suck. But I feel like, sometimes that happens with things, especially in my life. Like I'm like, I don't really like this situation, but I'll just like suffer it out till it's over because it will end. I don't know. There's a lot of that. Just like putting up with like shit for a period of time and realizing that if I don't throw a fit about it, it'll go away eventually. I don't know, instead of like, blowing everything up myself. I think I learned that a lot in getting older. Like I was like, I don't have to like get pissed off about every single thing I don't like. Like some things will just figure themselves out, you know? Meh. David's like,
I do think sometimes you have to throw a fit just
yeah,
to
you're
like
like, I
make
gotta throw a
sure that
fit.
you like make sure that you like get the ball rolling on like a change because sometimes a change will never come if you don't absolutely like scream to the universe like I need it right now. Like that's literally how I became homeless, which I guess it wasn't a choice. It wasn't a choice. It was not a choice. But I was like, that's it. That's it. Like that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Like I can't stay here one more
Mm.
day. And like I had to like scream at the universe, like that's fucking it. And then I threw my whole life like out the fucking window. Um, I don't know, sometimes, but like honest, like most of the time, you're absolutely right.
Let me ask you a let me
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Um, who are some of your favorite artists in regards to music?
Well, like what people inspired you.
Yeah. What music inspires you? I'm fucking high enough for this shit, so let's do it.
Okay,
That is
so
interesting.
I'm not super good at like being like extra cool about music like most people are. But
You like what you like.
Yeah.
so my favorite artists um would be like David Bowie.
Ooh.
Um and then Modest Mouse is a huge like part of my life.
That's cool.
Um and then like early like goth stuff, like 90s sort of goth stuff, like Susie and the Banshees and Bauhaus and um I don't know.
Ramones.
I do love the Ramones, and I didn't used to, but like,
I
but
love
yeah,
the
I
Ramones.
I love them so much. Like,
I love the Ramones. I
I
have
don't
like
want to be buried in
in a
a
pet cemetery. Oh my god. Oh,
cemetery.
Joey.
Rest in
Um,
peace, all the Ramones, right?
I think that were a couple of the Ramones buried at the Hollywood Cemetery.
I believe so,
So
but
yeah, I feel like I saw two of the
isn't this
gravestones
crazy?
there.
The Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr are still alive, but every single member, I think Mickey Ramone is the only last living member.
Of the original lineup. I mean, there's lots of people who
Oh
were
no,
in the
Tommy Ramone.
band,
Yeah, Tommy Ramone was dead years ago.
right?
Yeah. I'm
There
trying to
were,
sound
but
like all cool, like I know all the names. Like,
Dave
nah,
loves
I
music.
love
Dave's good with
music.
music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
But this isn't about you, Dave. This is
No,
about
it's not about you.
Fiona.
This is about Fiona. So you mentioned you mentioned Modest Mouse. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? You said that
absolutely, I love
yes.
Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
So okay. So when I was, so I'm 42. I don't know if I told you guys this. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm 42. And so when I got out
You
of
don't
high
look 40.
school, I
You
was
don't look
like,
42. Yeah, go on.
No one would ever know
Yeah.
any age that you are.
No.
Like it's hard to tell like what age you could be any age.
Yes.
when when I was 19, I had a like a pizza delivery job. I had a car and it was a Ford Probe, just like the worst car. It was kind of like cute, I guess. And I did pizza delivery and I listened to music all day long, but I was in Houston, Texas, and I listened to K True, which was like the local independent slash college radio station.
Yeah.
And that was the shit. That was when in like indie music and emo was just starting to drop. And like the whole reason why it like caught on so big as it did, and now indie is like synonymous. I mean, everything's independent in these sense, but back then it was like there were like 50 artists on the radio, and that's the only exposure you ever got to music. But then when like college radio came out, they were playing like world music and like independent shit and experimental shit. And then there was like this weird emo shit. But then at the front of it all, like with tales of thousands of other bands behind them were Modest Mouse. And I don't know. The Moon in Antarctica is my favorite Modest Mouse album. Um,
I'm trying to think
followed
like
closely by The Lonely Crowded West.
what year is it? Like it's like
Okay. What? Okay.
2004?
What is the name of the album?
The Moon in Antarctica.
The Moon in Antarctica.
If my phone works, you might
When do
be
you
able
think
to.
that was? You think like when do you think you had the pizza job? Like 2003?
So I would have been like 2001.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know which songs I was actually. That's when I heard the Ramones for
2000.
the first time.
Came out in
Okay,
2000.
that makes perfect sense. Sure.
2000. I know it's the early 2000s. My sister is like 12 years older than me, and then I'm like 10 years older than Dave. So like, I mean,
11, honey. We're 11 years apart.
shut up. My sister had she was a big Modest Mouse fan and she took us. I've seen him in concert 3 times. She took us to the show in Iowa City and I watched the like lead singer guitarist guy, like his guitar strings broke and it like cut his arm and he like still finished the song. And it was just like this like really incredible experience. But I remember they were like Modest Mouse is one of the first like band tees that I had. Like they had like a new it was like a new wave. I know there was like one other band like right along with Modest Mouse that I just like
Arctic,
fucking loved. I can't remember the name of it.
think it's
No, it's
not
before
Arctic
that, man.
Monkeys.
Nope, there's another one. But
Not
I
Goo Goo,
someday.
not
No.
Goo Goo Dolls.
Nope, nobody knows.
Oh gosh, no.
I
Not Goo Goo Dolls. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry.
don't
Give me a
know.
minute. Give me.
I
Let
mean, there
me.
were a lot of different things that we liked. Like, I don't know. I saw the other day there was like Cake is coming to the Greek theater, and I was like, do I even want to see Cake anymore? Like, I was like, I don't know, that kind
See,
of
what you
thing.
do at the Greek though is you sneak up onto the hill behind the Greek, and then you watch it like from the woods,
That sounds great. I
and
would
then
love
you like
that.
drink whiskey out of the bottle and like smoke weed and like sit in the woods on the mountain, just like watching.
Yeah, that's great. You've got good music taste. It's very good stories. Um, music really it can give me a place. Like it always gave me a place, like if I didn't know what the hell to do with myself, it was like I know I can throw myself into music. And that's a good place to go sometimes.
Favorite David Bowie song for me? Black Star. What's your
You
favorite
like the
David
later
Bowie
stuff.
song?
Um, Honestly, it's been a minute since I listened to David Bowie, but it's like Starman, is that the name of the song? I have them
Uh,
all on vinyl.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't like
beautiful.
listened to them in a long time. I
neither
should.
did
I
I.
should.
I know. I'm with you. I haven't either. I have a lot of his vinyls in my collection.
We
Let me
my
ask.
friend I wanted to tell you
Oh,
I
why?
had I had a friend my friend Roger, he always used to go by the name the Thin White Duke, which was like a stage of David Bowie that I find is like really, really sexy. The Thin White Duke. And I was like trying to remember like what was my favorite David Bowie song
Do you
around
know?
that
Do you
time.
know
It
how?
was
Do you know
around
how
that
he?
time.
Do you know how he pulled that off? He pulled that off by only drinking milk, eating peppers, and snorting cocaine. That's what he did throughout the
That was his
70s.
diet.
That was his diet. That's all he did every day.
I
God.
can't remember my favorite song of his. It's like some like slow kind of like lullaby song, and I listened to it for like maybe like every single day like 4 times for like 2 months when I went through like a bad time. I don't know, I probably played it at work like over and over and over again. Or it was like Carson's playing the song again. And I can't remember the name of it, but like that
I
would be
know
my
I know what you're
favorite David
talking
Bowie
I
song.
know what you're talking about.
I
And
read
I
about it and David Bowie was like, it's a lullaby to my people. And I was like, yes.
Is there any way I could shut up?
The cat.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. That's
She's
a
like jumping up and down in a box.
Oh, it's so cute though. That's the best.
I know. Mine is passed out.
Life without David Bowie would have been ugh.
Yeah.
Well, he did a lot. Like he did a lot. Like people still reference him when they're like trying to express to like conservative people like what like how maybe they can grasp like the idea of like gender binary not being a thing. Like they'll be like, well, take Bowie, for example. Like, are you aware of Bowie? And the boomers will be like, yeah, of course. Like,
Yeah.
Let me ask you
and
something.
then they'll be like,
What generation are you?
so I'm on the cusp between Generation X and Millennial.
So you're a Gen Xer, technically.
Gen X, like, Lil.
Hmm.
Genexial.
Damn.
I don't know. Are
I'm
we part of the
very
same thing, me and you, David?
No, I mean, so okay, here's the weird thing about me is I'm born in 99, okay? Anybody that's born from 95 to 99 can relate with me with this. We are like the generation right after millennials that like experience the world kind of like mid-internet, and then it just died in 2010. It just died. Like we woke up New Year's like happy go lucky, and it's like, oh shit. No,
What do you mean?
I'm being serious. That's literally what had happened.
What are you talking about? What does any of that mean?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I wanted to go on an elaborate exploration. But anyway, that's
Excuse
it.
me.
I'm done. I'm done.
No. Like, what do
Done.
you mean?
What
Like,
do you
what?
mean?
You woke up one day and everything was different? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't mean that literally, but I mean like just things started to change, you know? Like
Not like you actually woke up one day and
no, no,
everything
no,
was
no,
different.
no. Like that's crazy. That is bananas. No, no, no,
That
no.
is what you said, David.
I did, but again, I'm very sarcastic, as most of you can probably tell.
I don't know. I
Oh
mean, what's
no.
it like being a Gen X millennial?
Elenia, oh, that's hard to say.
Just say it however you want.
I guess I coined that just now. So just mark it
Yes.
in the history books, please.
Cha-ching.
We have this recorded for proof.
It feels weird for me because I'm like ageless. I'm like the ageless sort of human being. And I do believe that I'll never die. I do believe that I'm going to live to be 1,000 years old, no
That's
problem,
cool.
because there's no way that I'm aging. Like I never do. So, um,
Mm.
what's it like? It's weird because, after the whole pandemic thing, like everyone was inside all the time and a million times, and then it came back, and then it left, and then it came back, and then it left again. Like I wasn't outside, like I was inside. And the moment I stepped outside, like all of a sudden everyone was like way younger than me. And I was like, oh, last time I was outside, everyone was older than me. And now everyone's younger than me. And like it was really off-putting and I hate it.
Mm.
I hate being older than everybody. So like I work in retail in like a sort of trendy part of town where everyone's like 22 and beautiful and everything. And like I'm always like, you're like 20 years younger than me. It's crazy. Like Dave was born the year I graduated high school.
It is
Yeah.
different. Yeah. It is like I go to school with a bunch of like, 19, 20-year olds. And like when I look around, I'm like, oh my God, like, but then there's like people my age, and I've seen some people older than me and stuff like that. But like, I guess there's just like, and it's not the same for everybody, but there's like there's a lot of different things going on in the life of a person that's like 19, 20, 21, 22. Like it's like there's things other than the age that makes them kind of like sometimes a little bit difficult to be around. Like it's not, I mean, not that I find it difficult to be around younger people, but I say like sometimes it makes me have like, some self-reflection or different things like that. Like it's just like I never realized that I was so much older, in the same way. Like I'm like, oh my God, like there's a lot of things that like stand out about it. I don't like being older either. I really don't.
How do you feel about Leonardo DiCaprio, who's like
Oh
50, being with
yeah.
like a 19-year-old? Because
I think about it. Yeah.
for me, it's like it's not like I'm not like obsessed with the idea that like it's like basically pedophilia or whatever. I'm more like, how can you be with someone who's like out of touch with your generation? Like it's so odd. Like
You
I don't
know,
think that that match would work at all.
you know what? Teach their own. I mean, look, the,
Oh, Dave's all like pro. He's like,
no,
look,
look, I
yeah,
no, I'm not pro.
blah,
Okay, okay.
fuck
I'm
teenagers.
I'm one of those people that believe in, let me finish. I am one of those people that believe in people make choices. Okay.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not like she's 13, 12. No, no, no. I mean, like she's 19, like she's an
Is she
adult.
really 19? I thought she was at least like
She's
23.
22. She's 22. I think she's like 22. She's not 19. She's 22. But the point is that they're they're
Okay,
adults. They're
I'm gonna
adults.
cut you off. Okay, so basically, remember this story about Charlie Chaplin? He was like 50 something years old, and he married an 18-year-old, and they had like 8 children. And she said, like you can teach me, I'll teach you, how to live life or whatever. And he was like, oh, you teach me how to stay young, and then like, and then she had all of his kids. And I'm just thinking like, oh, she's 18 years old, like, and why did he want to marry this 18-year-old? Like, but it's just like, I don't know why they dip into that, like why it's like, I don't know. I personally could never picture like dating somebody who was like 18 or something. I don't know. I think that there's maybe something that happens in like a 18, 20-year-old's life where there's this kind of like carefree mindset where you feel like, oh, a million things could happen in my life. What's wrong with dating this 50-year-old man? Like I could see it like to an extent where you're like, there's plenty of time to change my mind, or something like that. Like I feel like there's just this super carefree mindset, maybe that's why these women agree to these things where they're like, oh yeah, I'll date this 50-year-old man. I mean, somebody out of all the young models is gonna do it. I swear, there's gonna be somebody. And after that, there's gonna be somebody else, like in that age bracket. Like there's always somebody up for it.
I
It's not
mean,
good enough.
like to not to be a complete realist and to like, break with realism, but like honestly, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. He probably has $1 billion, right? So there's probably a chance that he can have a pool party that there's like 40, hot 19-year-olds at his house or whatever. Like it's not that difficult to assume that he could have his choice of 19-year-old wives just because of the amount of money he
Are you,
owns or
are
whatever.
Fiona,
But like, why are
are
these
you
his
assuming?
interests?
Wait a minute, Fiona, are you assuming that a billionaire could own his own sex island? Are you assuming that a billionaire
Hmm.
could own that? Hmm.
Sex Island, Bone
I
Island.
believe one didn't kill themselves fairly recently.
I believe that was the story.
I don't know, Freak Island.
Freak had Mike Jagger on it,
Yeah,
but yeah.
it's just like, why is that? I don't know. I guess people are just like really, really into like being shitty, terrible people. Like, why are people like so like obsessed with like, just like fucking around? I wonder. Like, it's like I don't know. I mean, I think money can like make people just like go like completely wild. It's interesting. And I feel like I live a much more tame life where
I
I
think
make
you
less
can go
mistakes.
wild. Like if you get like $1 billion, if someone just handed you $1 billion tomorrow, you wouldn't recognize yourself in a month. Like
I know,
it
isn't
would
that
just
crazy?
fuck you up.
Money does fuck you up.
I would
Yeah.
literally be calling like Karissa, like I'm in Maui right now. Where are you? Okay, like the caviar is getting spoiled over here.
Like
No, I'm
quit my
joking.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd be gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Money
Hawaii. Adios.
money will
Sayonara.
ruin you.
Money will ruin you. It is true. I feel like that. Like
Try to live a humble life. I don't know. I remember in the pandemic, I thought about the Amish people. I was like, they're
the
just fucking
Amish,
fine.
the Amish people, the
I was like,
Amish.
yeah,
The
it was like they got that
Amish.
simple life thing going on and they're like doing just
They have
fine.
no
Like,
electricity. Do you
no
But
matter
like
understand?
what.
the
Yeah.
women are like doing like churning the butter.
No,
There
that's
you
not
go.
good. Nobody wants that. But I mean, maybe they
No,
do,
make the
but
man
I don't
churn the
know. I
butter.
don't know.
Make his muscles move.
It's not up to me to critique other people's cultures. I don't know.
I'm not
But
critiquing. I'm saying what I don't like. That's
like
all I'm
living a life
saying.
like away from everything, like where you
What?
don't like, I don't know. But also like that's attractive, but also like living in a really great community with a lot of really cool people sounds really attractive too. I don't know.
With no mustaches?
No mustaches
Uh,
allowed?
No mustaches.
no
Wow.
mustaches in is that
I
a
don't know. I'm joking. I
thing?
don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
That's a different
Hey,
life.
let's talk about mustaches for a moment. Like
What?
Okay.
they're super in style right now, but they're kind of gross, no? Am I crazy? I don't like
Uh,
like okay, there are a lot of like things that are trending right now that I hate. And one of them is the little mustache. Like having just like a little like
Oh.
weird mustache is like one of the things I can't get
you mean the
past.
Joseph
Uh,
Stalin or the Adolf Hitler?
oh
No,
no.
just like the
No.
round, like
Oh.
regular ass mustache. It's just
Ooh.
this part of your upper lip or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Noah Samson. Noah Samson. What the YouTuber guy? He's
He's
like super
hot.
cute. I mean, he's cute.
I feel like mustaches are like an easy way out. I don't know. Dave's got a bit of a mustache, right?
I
Don't you
have
have a
a
mustache,
beard.
Dave?
Like actually,
You
Oh,
got
for
hair all
sure.
over.
yeah, like,
Yeah, so but if you were to like shave all this but then leave that,
no.
have you never done it?
No.
And have it
It's
grow
not
as
the
long as possible.
70s.
As long
Look,
as possible?
No, it's bad. You
Okay,
can't do it.
listen.
It's bad.
I love the 70s, okay, but I could not pull off a porno stash. For the life of me, I could not pull off a porno
Yeah, you
stash.
could. You could. It'd
Yeah,
be
if you
ridiculous.
if you like clean shaved the whole rest of your face and just had a like thin mustache, no, you would look like a very trashy
I look
person.
like El Jefe. All right. Get off my back before I stab you
What is
with my
the Are
nails.
you a cartoon character?
No, I'm playing the character. I just had that on my face.
Okay.
The El Jefe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
it's like a
so
Extremely
Spanish French
racist, but
person.
anyway.
is he Spanish? I couldn't tell at all. I just knew there was a character happening.
Yeah, it was kind of Spanish, a little
But
Latin.
not claiming any
No.
specific. Yeah.
Why?
I know. There's nothing
Um,
specific to it.
mm-mm.
I feel like if I could grow a mustache, I would at
Oh.
some point. Like if that was
Mm.
like a,
Really?
like if I could, like if I, you know, but it's just like I like mustaches on people. Like I think they look all right. I don't know. I mean, sometimes they can be like really hot. I mean, I think facial hair is okay, but facial hair is not like a make or break for me, like in any type of way. Like it's
Mm.
just like it comes with the person, no matter like I don't
Agreed.
know, right? Mm.
I actually
Indeed.
like big beards and stuff, but like I mostly go for like sort of femboys or whatever. But like I don't know, every once in a while I'm like, oh, that beard suits me. So that's sick.
Yeah, for some people, I think it's just like rocking their own style and like feeling confident in the way that they look is like probably the most important part.
I mean, for me, it was kind of like my dad started rocking a beard around my age, a little later. And my dad looked pretty good with the beard. So I was like, I mean, this is what my genes give me, but I'm thankful to my genes. Everything else, to a certain degree. But yeah, no, that's it. That's all I had to comment.
Beards. My dad, I mean, he would shave like kinda, but he doesn't really have to shave that much. He always contributed it to being like partially Native American, which like I don't even know if that's true, but that's why he always said that he didn't have a lot of body hair. And I was like, "Oh, okay." But my dad like never really like grew enough hair for it to like become like a beard, but he'd still like shave so that he didn't have like stubbly stuff, you know? So my dad's always been clean shaven, like my whole life.
My dad always had a gigantic mustache. Like
Totally different.
he was like the white Cheech. Like he always had a gigantic mustache that covered his face and his lips and his you know and so my genes are to have a gigantic amount of facial hair. And last time I was a man, which I don't know if anyone had figured out, but I used to be that. I had a huge fucking beard and I grew it out just to see what would happen. And the funny thing that happened to me was that um, different types of people were flirting with me. And that was very interesting. And I was like, okay, let's see how far we could take this. And I grew it down like to some ZZ Top level just to see like what different type of people would like be attracted to me. And like, I don't know, I got a lot of dates with a lot of like different type of people that I wouldn't normally date or whatever.
Beer dates, not sponsored.
Which dates?
God, bad timing. I was making a bad joke.
Did you say beer dates?
I said beer dates, not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Beer dates. Beard dates.
Beard
Beards
dates.
will get you dates. This is the point of the conversation.
Oh, that a beard will
Beards
get you a
will get
date.
you dates.
They won't get you
Beard.
more dates. they'll just get you different dates.
Dates,
That's what
except
I was trying.
yeah,
Yeah, just
right.
one single date with, or, I mean, just like multiple single dates.
Yes.
There was this bar. I was like working in a pizza truck in Austin, Texas. And there was this
Ooh.
bar that I was like in the backyard of. And they were like, I had this like giant beard that I was growing. It was probably down to my nipples at this point. And they were like, you are like have the look for our like beer centric bar. And then I shaved it off one day and they were like, we were just about to hire you. Like, we're so fucking mad right now. And I'm like, why are you coming at me
There,
all hard
what?
like this?
People were
We'll do
disappointed that you
whatever.
had shaved.
Yeah. They were like, we were going to give you a job, but now we're definitely not. I'm like, why would you tell me that?
Oh, that's fucked up. They can't not give you a job because you shaved your beard. That's totally some type of like bias, like I don't know, of some kind. That's crazy. What a story, dude.
Well, first of all, like, yeah, I guess that's true. Like they can't not give you a job or whatever, but for them to
It's such a
tell
great
me that
story.
like, oh, we were, but now we're not. So they've literally implicated themselves twice. Like,
Well, what else is like crazy is that they wanted you because of the beard.
yeah,
Like
they were
they're
like,
like,
this is every single person who worked in this beer bar that was like a Texas themed beer bar where like all the beers were from Texas. Every single person had a beard and they had like a whole thing. I'm sure it's the same with like bars like the Tilted Kilt or like Hooters or whatever, where everyone they hire has to have a certain look. Like it must be very easy to sue them for not hiring you if like you don't have big tits or a beard or
yeah. I've
whatever.
definitely seen some flat-chested girls at the Hooters, and I'm like, you hot.
You better be
What a
getting tips,
weird
honey,
fucking business
because that's
model.
gonna be a
I
problem.
haven't been to Hooters in like 10, 15 years.
Isn't like the whole thing like all like managers at Hooters are like these like old fat white men and like all their employees are like 18 years old and have boobs. I don't
Yeah,
understand like
And
what's
have
happening
boobs.
there.
they definitely have boobs, real big
Yeah, I remember
boobs,
growing up, people were always like, you better
boobs.
do good in school or you'll be working at Hooters. And I was always like, God, like,
You're
like
like, oh, do you like them? That's nice.
I will not work at Hooters, but I'm glad that you think that I could. I don't, or am I? I don't know. It's like, are you now picturing me working at Hooters? Like, it's just kind of a weird thing as a child that people would say. They're like, you're going to be working at Hooters if you don't get a better job. I'm like, but now I've never worked at Hooters. And I don't think that working at Hooters is a bad job. Like, technically, I don't
I
know.
wonder if I could get a job at Hooters right now.
I wonder
Hmm.
if I could get a job at Hooters right now. You and I should both like apply. All three of us could apply at Hooters and just like live stream our entire situation
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
And it
I
would
mean,
just be like, oh God.
this sounds like an adventure to have one. But we've had a lot of fun here. I mean, we've been going on for an hour. I am very stoned, very, very, very stoned, as you probably can tell. But that has been an episode of American Groove. Um, we are at the end of Fiona. Is there any like handles or social links you want to share if anybody wants to find you? I know you are on TikTok.
What's my TikTok handle? You must know. I don't
Oh my
know.
god, I don't know either.
Oh
God,
gosh,
Okay,
God.
so I don't know any of my handles. Oh my
my
God, I'm
god.
so stupid.
No, you're
Oh,
fine. Karissa,
No,
anyway, my
there's no
name is Fiona
rush.
Williams. Sometimes I think I'm on. Uh,
God, where are the goddamn messages? Because
Fuck. Well, I don't even have a TikTok.
you
Isn't
don't
that
have a
you know what?
TikTok.
TikTok is dope. I
I
love
thought, yeah,
TikTok.
I think it's great. I watch
Found
all
it.
of it through like
Found
Instagram
it.
and
Found
Facebook
it.
and stuff.
Okay, you can find Fiona at Fiona Williams, the number 4 EVR on TikTok.
Hey, that's me, I guess.
Yes. And is there anything
This
you
is
want to
amazing. Like I don't know. I don't want it to end, but
I
I really, really appreciate it. It means the world to me that you gave us your time and you talked openly with us and just like really like embrace both of us as friends over our podcast and we created together just now and I think that's really great and I just want to say thank you.
No, I want to
Yeah.
say thank you to you guys for even inviting me because, like, I'm nobody. Like, it's so nice that, like,
let me tell you
you know,
something. Let me tell you something. The dream of this podcast is anybody that comes on here, you're not a nobody. You're a somebody. You know why we have these conversations? I don't give a flying fuck who the hell you are. If you've got a good story, you want to, or you're open to have a conversation, you're more than welcome to come on here. And that's why we had you on here. That's all that matters. You know?
oh yeah. Well, if y'all want to like just have a conversation sometime,
A regular one too.
podcast, that'd be tight.
Sure.
We can, yeah.
Yes, we shall. And with that, American Groove is hosted by this wonderful person here, Karissa Andrews. She is a fully licensed cosmetologist, esthetician, pug lover, and candle maker. You can find her at Karissa the Beautiful on Instagram. And for the podcast, it's at you can find the podcast at Lost in the Groove Pod on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. All right, everybody, we're going to be gone. Bye, everybody.